welcome back to the Style Shifter podcast. Today we are diving into something deeply personal and yet universally relevant, redefining beauty at every stage of life. This episode is inspired by an incredible discussion in our Wonder Wardrobe community that truly moved me. One of our members, Callie, shared something that resonated with many. She noticed her hair turning gray, her figure changing, and more wrinkles appearing. But here is the beautiful twist. She feels more beautiful now than ever before. This sparked a cascade of responses from women worldwide, each sharing their own experiences with beauty, aging, and self-acceptance. What emerged from these conversations was something profound, a collective realization that beauty isn't just about what we see in the mirror, but about how we feel in our own skin. Today, I want to share not just these stories, but also my personal journey, some fascinating research about the psychology of beauty and style, and practical ways we can all cultivate a healthy relationship with our appearance. We will explore what it truly means to feel beautiful, not just look beautiful. Let me start with a personal story that kind of shaped my entire perspective on beauty. Growing up, I was constantly told I was beautiful, mostly by my parents and my grandparents. It was meant as a compliment, but it became almost suffocating. If I did well at school, my parents would say, "Well, of course, you are so beautiful." If I struggled with something, they would say, "At least you are beautiful." I was around 19, studying at university, and one day I was at home, surrounded by my big, fat philosophy books. My father walked in and said something that changed everything. He said, "Why are you studying so hard? No one will marry you if you are that smart." That moment was like a crack in the foundation of everything I'd been taught about beauty and worth. It got me questioning what else is there for women beyond looks? And more importantly, how could I prove there was so much more without completely rejecting the idea of looking good? The journey, of course, wasn't straightforward. At first, I found myself becoming almost hyper aware of how society treated women differently based on their appearance. I started noticing how women who didn't fit the conventional beauty standards were often overlooked despite their capabilities. It made me more conscious, more empathetic. I began to see beauty in places I hadn't looked before. In confidence, in kindness, in the way some women carried themselves regardless of whether they fit the traditional mold. Choosing a career in fashion brought up all sorts of complicated feelings about beauty and worth. I found myself constantly wondering, would people think I chose this field because I was pretty and nothing else? Would they assume I was just another girl obsessed with appearances? These thoughts revealed something important. I was still letting beauty standards define me, just in a different way. Instead of embracing them, I was running away from them. Here I was, wanting to work with style and beauty, and at the same time trying to prove I was more than my appearance. And it took time to realize that surprisingly, these two things weren't actually in conflict. I could love fashion, appreciate beauty, and still be taken seriously. But more importantly, I could help other women navigate this same journey. Over years of working with women of all ages, body shapes, and professions, I started seeing a pattern. The women who truly struck me as beautiful weren't necessarily the ones who fit society's narrow definition and ever changing standards of beauty. They were the ones who had found their own way of expressing themselves, who had made peace with their bodies and faces, who wore what made them feel good rather than what they were told they should wear. And this understanding that beauty isn't about meeting someone else's standards, but about feeling authentic in your own skin didn't come from books or theories. It came from countless conversations, from seeing women light up when they finally found their style, from watching them grow more confident when they stopped trying to fit into someone else's definition of beautiful. Just yesterday, one of our community members, Kimberly, shared something that perfectly captures this journey. She wrote about how her process has been about claiming herself, about openly expressing and revealing who she truly is. I hadn't realized I was trying so hard at presenting, she shared. It's been very liberating and healing. Her words resonated deeply with me because they reflect what so many of us experience, that exhausting effort to present ourselves according to others' expectations, and the freedom that comes with finally letting that go. Her journey, like mine and so many others, shows that true beauty often emerges when we stop trying to prove it to others and start embracing who we really are. I think it's important to acknowledge something. For many women, this journey isn't easy. And it's okay not to feel beautiful all the time. In fact, this constant pressure to feel beautiful can become yet another standard we fail to meet. In my work, I've noticed two distinct patterns in how women cope with beauty standards. Some fall into what I call the consumption cycle, constantly buying new clothes, trying new beauty products, always chasing that feeling of confidence through their next purchase. Others enter what I call the rejection cycle, completely disengaging from any form of self-expression through appearance, often avoiding shopping altogether and relying on hand-me-downs from family and friends. When I start working with clients and ask them about their relationship with their bodies or what fitting problems they face, what often comes out is heartbreaking. Instead of describing practical fitting issues, they launch into detailed critiques of their bodies. My hips are huge, my arms are fat, I have no neck, my thighs are too thick. Or I hear variations of, I used to be so beautiful when I was young, and now I'm just old and frumpy and nothing looks good on me. For me, these responses are clear signs that we are dealing with something deeper than just a style challenge. While I'm not a psychotherapist and cannot address deep-rooted beliefs directly, I've learned that we cannot separate style from self-esteem. They are linked. This is why at Wonder Wardrobe we approach style improvement as part of a broader journey of self-discovery. Because if you're struggling with self-esteem, simply buying beautiful clothes will not solve the underlying issue. And on the other side, when women step away from engaging with fashion and personal style, it can actually have mixed effects. For some, It feels liberating. They experience relief from the constant pressure of beauty standards. They find themselves focusing more on their values and interests rather than their appearance. And let's be honest, their bank accounts probably thank them too. But here's the complicated part. This same withdrawal can create other challenges. Many women find themselves feeling disconnected from social situations where appearance plays a role in bonding and connection. Think about those moments when friends get together and share style tips, or when dressing up for an event is part of the shared experience. By completely disengaging from personal style, some women isolate themselves from these social connections. There is also this interesting paradox. While rejecting fashion might start as a way to build confidence and authenticity, it can sometimes reinforce the very thing we are trying to escape, the belief that our appearance determines our value. It's like we're still letting beauty standards control us, just from the other direction. Many women tell me they've stopped following fashion accounts entirely because it makes them feel inadequate. But this avoidance can sometimes lead to further disconnection from their own sense of style and self expression. Some women in our community share how they haven't bought new clothes for years, not because of financial constraints, but because the whole experience of shopping and thinking about their appearance became too painful. They would rather wear old, ill fitting clothes than engage with these feelings. This isn't freedom from beauty standards. It's still letting those standards control our choices, just in a different way. While this might sound gloomy, I still see hope. When we start talking about these struggles openly in our community, something shifts. Women realize they are not alone in these feelings, and more importantly, they begin to understand that style can be approached differently, not as a measure of worth or beauty, but as a tool for self expression and joy. This is why I believe the solution isn't buying more clothes or rejecting style entirely. It's in developing a different relationship with how we present ourselves. At Wonder Wardrobe, we focus on using fashion as a tool for positive change. We work on both self esteem and style improvement at the same time because they feed into each other. When women start seeing style as a form of self expression rather than a measure of worth, both their confidence and their style naturally evolve. So the goal isn't to feel perfectly beautiful all the time. That's just another impossible standard. Instead, it's about developing a kinder relationship with ourselves and understanding that while style can be a wonderful tool for self expression, it doesn't define our worth. You want to hear another experience I had that really opened my eyes about beauty standards? Well, moving to Germany when I was 23. Let me paint you a picture. So, in Russia, where I grew up, makeup wasn't just common, it was practically part of the dress code. You would never see a woman without a full face of makeup. And I mean, never. It wasn't just about looking polished, it was about meeting this unspoken requirement of what a woman should look like. Then I moved to Germany, and it was like stepping into a completely different world. I remember my first months there, looking around and thinking, wait, where is everyone's makeup? Because there were all these women of all ages just going about their day completely barefaced. At first, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I kept thinking, don't they care about their appearance? But that thought itself revealed something important about the beauty standards I had internalized. Why did I automatically equate wearing makeup with caring about appearance? Why did I assume that a bare face meant someone wasn't putting in effort? After about a year of living there, something started to shift. I began wearing less and less makeup, but it wasn't an easy thing to do. I remember the first time I went to a client meeting without makeup, my heart was racing. I felt naked, unprofessional even. I kept thinking everyone was staring at my dark circles, my uneven skin tone, my acne, every little imperfection I had been taught to cover up. But here's the thing that really struck me. Nobody cared. Nobody was scrutinizing my face the way I was. My clients were focused on my ideas, my expertise, not whether I had concealer under my eyes. And this realization led me to a pretty radical decision. I decided to quit wearing makeup altogether for a while. Not because I think makeup is bad, it's not about that at all. I just needed to understand why I felt so dependent on it. Why did I feel less worthy, less professional, less put together without it? And reminds me of what Millie from our community shared. I've stopped wearing concealer and foundation completely because I prefer how my skin looks naturally now. If I compare myself to others that put more effort into their appearance, I can feel insecure. But if I focus on myself, it feels better this way. And her words really capture something crucial about this journey. It's not about whether wearing makeup is right or wrong. It's about understanding our relationship with it. Why do we wear it? Is it because we enjoy it or because we don't feel acceptable without it? After a few years of this experiment, something remarkable happened. I started actually seeing my face, really seeing it, not as a collection of flaws that needed fixing, but as just me. Now I will occasionally wear makeup if I feel like it, but it's coming from a completely different place. It's not about hiding or fixing, it's about creative expression, about having fun with my appearance. And this experiment taught me something profound about beauty standards. They are not universal truths. They are just stories we've been told. Stories that can vary dramatically depending on where you are in the world. And once you realize that, you start to see how made up many of our beauty rules really are. Before I share some fascinating research about why our relationship with beauty is so complex, I have a quick favor to ask. If you are enjoying these conversations about style, self-discovery, and feeling beautiful in your own way, would you take a moment to rate and review the Style Shifter podcast? Your review helps other women find our community and join these important conversations. Plus, hearing your thoughts helps me create episodes that really matter to you. It only takes a minute, but it makes a huge difference. Now, let's explore what science tells us about the psychology of feeling beautiful. You know, all these experiences we've been talking about, how differently we approach beauty across cultures, how our relationship with our appearance shifts over time. There is actually a fascinating research that helps explain why what we wear affects us so deeply. Scientists have discovered something they call enclosed cognition. Sounds fancy, but it's actually something you've probably experienced yourself. It's the idea that what we wear doesn't just affect how others see us, it literally changes how our brain works and how we feel about ourselves. You know that feeling when you put on an outfit that just feels right? When you stand a little taller, speak a little more confidently, that's not just in your head. Or, well, actually, it is in your head, but in a really interesting way. Research shows that what we choose to wear can shift how we think and act. It's like our clothes send signals to our brain, influencing everything from how we move to how we solve problems. And when those clothes align with how we want to feel, that's when the magic really happens. But here is where it gets really interesting. And I've seen this countless times in my work with women through Wonder Wardrobe. It's not about wearing what others think looks good. It's about wearing what makes you feel authentically yourself. For example, I always hear this advice to dress up when working from home to be more productive. But what does dressing up really mean? For some of my clients, a tailored blazer helps them feel focused and professional. For others, it makes them feel stiff and uncomfortable, so there is no one size fits all solution. Just the other day, I had a discussion with one of our community members. She noticed that when she stopped trying to dress for others' approval and started wearing what felt authentic to her, her whole energy shifted. Even though her outfit choices became simpler, mostly jeans and cozy sweaters, she felt more beautiful than when she was wearing what social media told her she should wear. And this ties into something really profound that researchers have found. When we focus too much on looking beautiful by external standards, it can actually decrease our self esteem. Just think about it. When we are constantly measuring ourselves against an external ideal, we are essentially signing up for an impossible game because those standards aren't static, they keep shifting, telling us we need to be younger, thinner, more perfect. And every time we feel we don't measure up, it chips away at our confidence. We start second guessing ourselves, wondering if we are enough. But when we focus on feeling beautiful, on choosing clothes that make us feel comfortable and authentic, it has the opposite effect. It creates this positive feedback loop. When we feel good in our clothes, we carry ourselves differently. This changes how we interact with others, which in turn reinforces our confidence. Our focus shifts from what we think we should be to who we actually are. And this isn't just theory, we are seeing it play out in real time in our Wonder Wardrobe community. Women who've spent years trying to fit into someone else's definition of beauty are discovering that when they dress for themselves, something shifts. They start seeing beauty not as a standard to meet, but as a feeling to embrace. Take color, for example. Research shows that wearing certain colors can affect our mood and behavior. But here's the catch. These effects are deeply personal. One person might feel powerful in black, while another feels most themselves in bright colors. What matters isn't the color itself, but how it makes you feel. This is why I always start my work with clients by asking them how they want to feel in their clothes, not how they want to look. Because once you understand the feeling you are after, the look naturally follows. So the science here is clear. when we align our outer expression with our inner selves, we're not just changing our appearance, we are changing our entire experience of the world. Our clothes can be either a costume we hide behind or a tool for authentic self expression. The key is understanding the difference. So far, we've talked about the complexities of beauty standards and their impact on our lives. But let's get practical. How do we move from understanding these issues to making real changes in our relationship with beauty and style? Let me share some approaches that have worked for women in our Wonder Wardrobe community. But before we dive in, I want to mention that you can find all these exercises in the episode notes in the Wonder Wardrobe app. It's free to sign up, and you can choose to work through them alone or join our community, whatever you prefer. I think the journey toward authentic style begins with a simple but powerful shift in perspective. Instead of asking, will this make me look thinner, younger, prettier? We start asking, does this make me feel confident, comfortable, energized? This change in focus from how we look to how we feel transforms our entire approach to style. In the Wow Studio Plus, we guide women through this transformation with a process that combines self-discovery with practical style development. And here is how it works. First of all, let's begin with a mindful wardrobe review. This isn't about decluttering or getting rid of things. We're not doing a traditional closet clean out here. Think of this as meeting your wardrobe with fresh eyes, like getting to know someone you've lived with but never really talked to. The goal is to understand your current relationship with clothes. So we can just go to our wardrobes and look at each piece without too much judgment. So let's first note which items you wear most often and which stay untouched. And can we also notice any patterns in the clothes you consistently reach for and other way around? Maybe try to pay more attention to how different materials feel against your skin, what you like, what you don't like, what is just okay. And another one, which is quite important, is to observe which pieces make you smile when you see them. Do you have those kind of pieces? What kind of pieces are they? Why they make you smile? Secondly, let's turn insights into action with the reflection journal. In our Studio Plus, we've created a dedicated spaces for this ongoing journey of discovery. But for specifically this episode, let's create a new reflection journal that should help you build on what you learned from your wardrobe review and track how your relationship with style evolves over time. You can share your insights with the community on the app or keep them private. So here are some things that you can explore. For example, what have you discovered about your style preferences? Which colors or pieces consistently boost your mood? What challenges are you facing in expressing yourself through style? How can you use these insights to make more conscious choices? What patterns do you notice in your comfort level with different outfits? So these are just 5 questions that you can start with. And the third, we put everything we've learned into practice. So once you have these insights, start making small intentional changes to how you dress. For example, adding a bright lipstick to your usual neutral look. Or maybe it's wearing fun, colorful socks with your everyday outfit. Maybe adding an extra piece of jewelry, swapping your usual shoes for something more dressed up or dressed down, the opposite, right? Maybe trying a new hair accessory. maybe playing with different layers or combinations you haven't tried before. And the impact of these small changes can be remarkable. Maria from our community started wearing her favorite special occasion dress to run errands just for her regular day, breaking her own rule about saving nice things for later. And she shared that it felt strange at first, but then I realized I was denying myself joy by waiting for some perfect moment that might never come. And another member, Sarah, began experimenting with bright colors after years of wearing only black because it was slimming. And we've all been there, or maybe still there. And she told us, I used to think I needed to hide, but now I choose clothes based on how they make me feel, not how much of me they can conceal. Some days I wear black because I love it, not because I feel I have to. Keep in mind that building a new relationship with beauty and style takes time. Think of it like learning a new language. You don't become fluent overnight. Start where you are, with what you have, and focus on how you want to feel rather than how you think you should look. The goal isn't to become more beautiful according to someone else's standards. It's about developing a way of expressing yourself that feels authentic and brings you joy. Sometimes that might mean wearing makeup and dressing up. Other times it might mean barefaced in comfortable clothes. What matters is that the choice is yours, made from a place of self-respect rather than self-criticism. I'm excited to introduce a new feature of our show, the Q&A segment. I received a great question from Katerina, and I think many of you will relate to her style dilemma. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I am Katerina. I generally have a quite well organized wardrobe. But then last autumn I bought a dark green slip skirt and I wanted to style it in different ways. Everything went well except for one blouse. This blouse. These colors, they do not fit my color type. They do not fit my color scheme, and it does not even fit my style type. So any suggestions what I should do? Because I like it, it looks quite great, but not on me.
Thank you, Katerina. This is such a common situation. Having an item you like in theory, but that doesn't quite work for you in practice. And I love that you are so clear about why it's not working. The colors don't suit you and it doesn't align with your style. This is actually a perfect example of the difference between liking something and it being right for us. You know what I often tell my clients? Just because something is beautiful doesn't mean it needs to be beautiful on you. It's like admiring a painting. You can appreciate its beauty without having to hang it in your home. And here's what I suggest. So, since you've already done the hard work of identifying exactly why this blouse doesn't work for you, use this as a valuable information for future shopping. The fact that you can pinpoint these details shows you have a good understanding of your style needs, and that's fantastic. As for what to do with the blouse, if you've had it for less than 6 months and still have the receipt, maybe consider returning it. If that's not an option, you could try selling it or doing a clothes swap with friends. Sometimes what doesn't work for us is perfect for someone else. And most importantly, don't feel guilty about this purchase. Think of it as a tuition paid in your ongoing style education. Every mistake purchase actually helps us refine our understanding of what works for us and what doesn't. This is exactly the kind of question I love exploring together. So, for all of our listeners out there, do you have style questions you would like answered? Whether it's about specific items like Katarina blouse or broader questions about finding your style, I would love to hear from you. Just head to wonder-wardrobe.com/ask and record your question. You might hear it answered right here on the next episode. And there we have it, style shifters. What a journey through redefining beauty we've had today. When I started reading through all the messages in our Wonder Wardrobe app, I noticed something fascinating. The women who expressed feeling most beautiful weren't necessarily those who fit conventional beauty standards. They were the ones who had found their own way of being in their skin, who had discovered how to use style as a form of self expression rather than self correction. And isn't that really what style shifting is all about? Not perfection, but authenticity. Not following rules, but finding our own path. Not someone else's definition of beauty, but our own unique way of feeling beautiful. If you take away just one thing from today's episode, let it be this: feeling beautiful isn't about meeting certain standards. It's about developing a relationship with yourself that's based on respect, understanding, and joy. Your style is exactly that, yours. It can be as bold or as subtle, as colorful, or as minimalist as feels right to you. And the best part, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. Join us in the Wonder Wardrobe app, where you will find all the exercises we discussed today, plus a community of women who are style shifting together. Share your experiences, learn from others, and be part of a space where beauty is about how you feel, not just how you look. And don't forget to send in your questions for our next episode. As always, I'm Daria, your conscious guide into the world of style shifting. See you on our next styling adventure.